Hey, you're watching Fox 10 Talks. It's Sunday. Brian, Trenton here. We're making it happen.
Rocking and rolling.
It's, wow, what a day. But overnight, Brian, we were talking, and I think one of the big things to break has a little bit of an Arizona connection, but the O.J. Simpson estate finally agreeing after about 30 years, because 97 would make 30 years, the family of Ron Goldman, who was... They sued for the wrongful death suit, even though O.J. Simpson initially in the criminal charges was found not guilty, but in the wrongful death suit, civil jury did find O.J. Simpson liable for Ron Goldman's death. And this, of course, is related to the slayings of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ron Goldman, seen right there. And they finally agreed we're going to pay. So I think it's about 57 plus million, basically nearly $58 million for the estate of O.J. Simpson going to Fred Goldman. And yeah, wow. I just was kind of shocked to see that last night. Broke about 10 o'clock. TMZ was reporting that, and we've been able to confirm it. So
the Goldmans lived here. I believe Ron grew up here and then went to basically Hollywood, I believe, to try to get involved with entertainment on some level. And his father, Fred, was... very open with the media. We'd go get him at a nice department store down the street in the Fashion Square, Scottsdale, and often he would talk to us. I mean, this is just the saga that went on and on and on. I mean, I'm dating myself. We see 1995, the court case there. I remember exactly where I'm dating myself here, definitely. I remember exactly where I was when I first heard about this. I was a cub reporter my first year, 1994.
Yes.
And in Little Topeka, Kansas. And
the summer. Yeah.
And I walked into a nice city councilman's office on some boring city council story in Topeka that you cover in those kind of towns. And he's like, "Did you hear about OJ?" And I was like, "OJ Simpson?" I was like, "No,
there's no other OJ. Yeah.
There's no other." And then it was like, wow. And then, just went on and on. And the trial, of course, for those youngsters out there, just was like the never-ending saga, and it just went on from there.
Well, I remember the same summer in '94, when all that happened. I was not a Cub reporter at the time. I was about 8 years old, but I remember that was the years, of course, that Michael Jordan was not in the NBA when he stepped back and went to the MLB, because that's the only reason any other team besides the Bulls was able to get in the NBA Finals. And the Houston Rockets were playing in the NBA championship. I'm trying to remember who they played. It was either
NBA. Oh, with Clyde Drexler and Elijah
Hakeem Olajuwon. Yeah, we're battling that out. And actually won that year.
Portland?
No, or the Magic. I can't remember. Okay, but but I remember in the middle, Bob Costas was on the sideline talking. This is Bob Costas. The NBA Finals, we have that going on, but we have to go to some breaking news out of Los Angeles on 405, and we had that Bronco chase, and I remember just sitting there with my parents, glued. We're expecting the game, but then it's O.J. Simpson, the actor that we all know and love, and he's on the run with police, and of course, it just took the nation by total storm.
The other only personal 6 degrees of separation story I have is Mike Watkus, a famous reporter here in town for years. Also worked for, at the time, he worked for A Current Affair,
Affair. Sure.
When those tabloid shows were big. He also has a cameo in Dumb and Dumber, by the way. But anyway, so I worked with Mike at Channel 3 when I first got to town, and he's a great storyteller, and he tells the story. He was in L.A. when that was going on, and he was among the first reporters to be, I believe, at the police station when OJ came out. Now, this was right when news broke of the murders. And OJ was, for those of you who don't remember or know, he was just a big celebrity, and everybody loved him. Yeah. And he said they were all just kind of shooting the breeze. Well, they were all just consoling OJ at that moment.
He was holding court too, I'm sure.
He was probably holding court, but Mike tells the story that one of his biggest regrets in his career, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but that no one, including him, said, OJ, did you have anything to do with this? Nobody even ask the question because it was so out of bounds to even think that at the time. I mean, and then, of course, don't get me started on the trial. People have their own thoughts on the trial, but clearly there was a ton of evidence against him. In the end, the jury didn't go that way. Yeah.
Well, and of course, we're going back 30 years, but that was all that anyone talked about just for it seemed like the entire
almost a year. Yeah.
Exactly. And Court TV had just come out, so all of it was broadcast all the time. All the local stations had it. They were weighing in, and it seemed like also a time too where America could kind of talk about it with what'd you think about that evidence that was presented? And we were all kind of getting, same set of facts, but then obviously there's so many different components that go into that case, racial component and just the feelings and many things that were going on with the LA Police Department. But the verdict, like you said, I mean, even that being a flashpoint of just one side saw it one way, the other side saw it another. And at the end of the day, you had two people that were murdered, and I just that always stuck with me with just that idea that the defense was presenting that there was a mystery killer out there, and they were not going to stop until justice was found, and clearly it's still being sought after.
As soon as the trial was over, it was like go on.
What about them? And just like you mentioned before, but poor Fred Goldman and his family and the family of Nicole Brown Simpson, too. I mean, seeing Fred in court consoling his daughter, Kim, and Ron's biological mother, Sharon Rufo, too, just seeing him grasp him and still be dad, but having to bear there and be the witness. And I know you've talked to him, too, over the years. It's wow.
Well, and we do forget how that played out, as you have just recounted to me and reminded me. So the court case did not go in their favor. Then they turned to the civil courts, and I think several different family members won millions of dollars along the way. But okay, so you win. Yeah. Now how do you get the money?
Sharon, Fred, and then also the Brown family had sued O.J. Simpson, won, like you said. And I remember when that happened in '97 with the wrongful death suit, and it was kind of course, the standard of evidence in a civil case in a wrongful death suit, the bar is much lower for a jury to find someone liable for damages. But still, I kind of think it was it was a win, but it wasn't really a win, for the families to feel that. And like you said, hounding him down to try to get any of that money, and that was a saga.
You would think, I thought at the time, OJ he probably was somewhat of a rich man. I don't know how much the legal fees cost him. Might have wiped him out. Might have wiped him out. But then you think, he did that book, If I Did Do It or something.
If I Did It.
Yeah. And I remember thinking, well, why can't the court's already judged against him? Why can't they just go get into his bank account and get that money out? Yeah. I guess it's not that easy. So anyway, here we are all these years later, 31, and since the murders. And
after his death,
And after his death, but the Goldmans and other family members might actually see this because the attorney for OJ's estate is the one who told TMZ, we're going to pay up.
Exactly. And that was what was a little interesting in the statement that he gave to TMZ, because I think even the estate is having difficulty finding all the items that they believe are in the possession to account for what they feel like the worth is. I mean, Malcolm Laverne, who was the longtime attorney of O.J. Simpson, and then, and this was, of course, after the criminal trial and the civil one as well. But after that, he became the state executor, and he had said for years and years and years, we will not pay 1 cent for this settlement. So again, to change the tune now, and I think he was saying also that they're having difficulty finding some of those pieces, and some things that belong to the O.J. Simpson estate may have been stolen, which was a little ironic given the L.A. Autograph signature charges and conviction that happened.
Well, I was about to say, who would want memorabilia from O.J., but then I thought, probably
there's
a lot
person
of people.
Out there.
Probably a lot of people would.
Yeah, plenty.
For sure.
But
so this is a new executor who changed the mines here?
No, he's the long time.
He just
executive.
changed his mind. He's
exactly.
the guy
they
who's
said,
making
we're
the
going to
decision.
pay. We're going to pay. Somehow, some way, we're going to pay. When, again, it wasn't the original judgment amount, which I might be talking on a term, but I believe it was about $117 million back in 1997. But now this one's like about $57 million for the settlement.
As much as we complain about social media, it was kind of cool that you reached out to Cato Kalin today. That's the name.
That's one of the names that came out to me. Yeah, we're trying to work that behind the scenes, but yeah, did get a response from Cato Kalin. He wished us a
dubious honor.
Sunday. Yes, he did. A happy Sunday. God bless.
Yeah,
and that he was not going to weigh in on this particular case.
Did his legacy, Cato Kalin, at the time? This is my take. He was just such a kind of quirky, but like almost lovable kind of G-shucks guy. But did that turn dark on him, or am I imagining that part?
I can't remember the turn dark part necessarily.
Well, he started to kind of
embellish a bit, maybe,
and then kind of pimp himself out on some weird shows and stuff.
Yeah, well,
and just like,
and I mean, rightfully, and he was a working personality in Hollywood. It's tough out there, with trying to get that brand and put yourself out there. And I believe he was in several reality shows too. Maybe he was even a Big Brother, maybe a step down with the VH1 show or something. But yeah, no, he was definitely trying to keep that.
I guess can't blame
celebrity factor going.
And we should say because it's been so long for anyone who doesn't know, he lived with OJ and how that all came together.
That did not even get clarified in court. If I remember, it was like you're in the guest house, you were there, you kind of heard. He
heard
things,
a bang,
but you're like a friend. But it's Cato, the guy.
Yeah,
He's
I just remember
an
kind of
shucks, surfer guy.
Surfer stammering kind of. But then he said kind of funny, clever. Cute things on the stand. It was just.
He did. But again, too, I mean, he was, I think, closer with Nicole Brown Simpson. And man, I remember there were a couple times that I've seen interviews where he broke down about it, just saying that
I'm sure
he lost her.
You can't even. Hollywood couldn't even make up Cato Kalin. I mean, just amazing.
There's only one.
There's only one Cato.
Yeah. Well, so we've answered that question.
All right.
Folks,
so we're going to have that story tonight at 5 or at least 9.
There's a possibility a couple people who believe he's innocent appreciate that Citrus Bloom working in. We're going to have Taylor Wirtz on that story.
Okay.
Hopefully tonight at 9.
All right. We're going to talk some movies after the break.
That's it.
Let's do it. Hans Peterson up next.
All right. Stick around.
Hey, Fox 10 Talks Sunday afternoon. Me and Trenton, Ashley Gomez back there helping us out, and Hans Peterson, our movie expert, is here. You have any thoughts on O.J. Simpson? Just any memories of that whole time?
I just remember calling Fred Goldman at Neiman Marcus where he used to work. Yeah,
to get an interview.
Yeah. And he politely said no. Yeah, I remember.
He was always polite to us.
Yeah, very.
Why do I hear an echo?
I don't know. I thought it was your mind I was listening into for a second.
You don't want in there, man.
Wow.
You don't want in there.
Yeah.
You can't get out. Okay, that's crazy. What's up, man? You seen some new movies?
Yeah, Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
So that's what I want to know. You did make it to the movies last night.
I made it last night.
Just a little behind the scenes. We can talk about how the sausage is made. Hans is one of our premier producers, veterans in here, and he's cranking out an entire shift to make an awesome show last night if you watch the 9 o'clock news. But then he's like, I'm going to go to a movie. I'm going to go see a movie, and this is what I'm doing, for this review. So you made it to the theater. How was it? The theater itself and
what's
the
this,
atmosphere?
a midnight movie?
Actually, I will say it was like a 10:30 movie.
Okay.
I was surprised there was applause at the end of the movie. I think that's the first time in the last 6 months there's been applause.
Wow.
Yeah, and it is the number one movie this weekend at the box office. A lot of twists and turns in the third installment in the franchise here. Most of the people return. You got Morgan Freeman, Jesse Eisenberg, Dave Franco. And they team up with a younger set of magicians in order to target a diamond seller who launders money for big-time criminals. And adventures span the globe. You got a South African diamond mine, Abu Dhabi, a French chateau, Bushwick, New York. I mean, it's all over the place. And the fun part is watching how the tricks work, how they pull off their latest heist. Just some of the same tricks and formulas from the previous two films, though. And there are a couple good twists at the end.
So they use their magic skills, skills of illusion, to kind of be the Robin Hoods and get back at the bad guys?
Exactly. They steal from the bad guys and give away to their audience, basically.
Do you get in less trouble if you steal from bad guys? Is that, or your same trouble in real life?
According to this
it's a great question.
In real life.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure there's been a lot of RICO cases where they're like, yeah, but if it's drug dealers stealing from other drug dealers, is anybody really hurt?
Okay, but what if you aren't a drug dealer stealing from drug dealers? Do you like, Judge, come on. Didn't I do good here? Come on.
I don't know if intent really matters to the law. But
right. By film logic, it's all
hard to go.
Shouldn't it, though? Doesn't intention matter everywhere else in life?
You would think so. But
I will say
Ashley,
a villain.
hit that button again.
I didn't mean to do it, Your Honor. Really.
The echo button. Did you do it?
Yeah, that was me.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, thank you.
The villain is great. Rosamund Pike in this, though. She does a great job. And there are a lot
she's
of quips
the villain.
that are, she's great in it.
Gone Girl, right?
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of quips and,
that's good to hear.
Made for memes and trailers.
The other two are like, they were slick, they were fun. At the end, you kind of like, I kind of saw a little bit of that coming, but I didn't. It's really good surprises and how they pull off things. But you kind of wonder with some of these franchises where they take like such a big break. It's been like, almost 10 years where you're kind of like, is the third one really warranted?
Right.
Do we really need an Ocean's 20? I mean, when playing out, how many times can they rob Caesar's Palace?
You can see the movie moguls in some office going, what can we redo that will
get the list?
Yeah.
Get the list.
Yeah. And it's not like it ever had great ratings on Rotten Tomatoes either. I think the second one, I think, had like a 32% Rotten Tomato rating. So
that hurts.
Yeah, and it wasn't that good compared
If I see 32, I keep flipping.
Yeah.
Who is that it's the critics and the public, right?
They aggregate critics and then audience. Although I will say a couple of my favorite movies have very low Rotten Tomato ratings.
Give me an example. The
Incredible Shrinking Woman with Lily Tomlin. It's so freaking funny.
70s,
it's like 27% Rotten Tomato
ouch. I'm sure that does happen. So another interesting part of that too, like you got to hand it to them. Whoever wrote the script on things like that, they had to really, at some point, somebody did a deep dive on how to do all these tricks and how we can, and then will that work on camera? And how do you, there's a lot to it,
But and there is it does stretch suspension of disbelief. Would someone really think that a cardboard cutout of a helicopter was a real helicopter? I don't think so.
I'm still waiting to figure out where David Copperfield put the Statue of Liberty, to be honest with you.
That did stun the nation.
Stop the Soviet Union's what it did. Thank God.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah.
I remember watching that on TV.
Of course. Amazing moment. But have you been to Las Vegas magic shows, and have there been any that you've got? Like I've seen a couple. I saw a Cirque du Soleil show that was a little magic theme, but then who did I see? David Blaine, and then also Penn and Teller.
Cool.
I
Really
saw
fun.
Penn and Teller once.
Yeah,
they were
I'm a
great.
sucker for Penn and Teller.
Yeah.
Love them. But yeah, I mean, it's still fun though, like with those, to be in the audience in the moment.
Oh, yeah.
And then I thought they captured a little bit of that in the other two installments of the Now You See Me, Now You Don't.
But it is always better in live performance than movie.
I mean, I think
where-
you have to really David Blaine, I know he has a penchant for like the street magic part where it's one-on-one, and that's a totally different skill than doing an audience with, the production, with everything else. But the shared experience, I think, is really neat. A little similar to comedy, the feeling, the energy, but it's still fun.
We had a guy
at
at college, a hypnotist, which I know is slightly different. But
where'd he touch you, Brian?
No, I was unscathed, but my good friend was up there. I don't know how he got up there with about 10 people, and he went through the thing, and he goes, after you're hypnotized, you will feel like this, you will feel like this. He got to my friend and said, you will feel like you are 8 feet tall. I promise you, when we all went, then he comes out, he doesn't really remember. And we followed him back to the dorm room, and he did duck.
No.
I kid you not.
Wow.
We were all watching, and he, not a huge one, but he kind of would duck as he went into the doors, and we're like, wow.
For the next week, he was ducking.
Wow, yeah. So something stuck. True story.
Yeah, I worked backstage when we had a hypnotist in college, so I got to watch him work several times, and I did notice how he'd pick like 20 people out of the audience and would ask them to lift their hands up. And something having to do with like one hand is really light and the other is really heavy. And the greater the distance between the hands, those are the people he picked because it suggested they were more suggestible. People who only had their hands this far apart did not get picked and were sent back to sit down. So
Interesting.
I thought that was
So there's a tell.
Yeah, exactly how suggestible one is.
Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is impressive how they do that. And it's really, there's some good, I don't know, science or distraction techniques they use. I mean, it's, all about moving your attention over here, right? When the Statue of Liberty gets moved away, whatever it is. But
yes.
Pretty good how they do it, though.
Took her in for a polish.
Because, I think a lot of us go in there think, hey, well, I'm pretty smart. I'm going to figure this out. And you still are like, how do you do that?
Right.
How'd you do that? Anyway.
But I'm a sucker where I've got to look. Like we had that guy that came in last year that Richard Sines brought in with had the briefcase with the, I believe it was March Madness.
That was
had
good.
the whole bracket picked out
was
of what
good.
he was going to do. And he had locked it, kind of handcuffed it. Where's it? But when he came into our newsroom and, he had a book that he wanted, okay, any word you selected, I'm going to know the word that you're talking about. But I mean, looking into a little more, they all have their little gags and gifts, but amazing guy. Like it was really cool to see him in action. And, the psychology part of it, I thought was really awesome because
of course
he said in his day job, kind of, it's helping attorneys with a jury analysis with how to, are you making your case to them? Are they going to get a conviction? Are they going to get off, etc. And, really seeing those tells. So,
even if they do have some tricks up their sleeve, it's still cool.
Very cool.
Still cool.
I love it. Yeah, I love it.
In the movie, one of the tells was this: someone just pulling their hair back around.
That was a tell that they were someone
that they had hit a nerve. That they were, in this case, was that they'd hit a nerve. That they were onto something truthful.
Pretty neat.
I mean, and then you get I mean, what could these guys do at a poker table, right?
Oh man, clean house at that. Well, and that's the thing is you have some that have tricks, and there was also that movie 21, but I believe the book was called Bringing Down the House. About the actual,
that was good.
I believe it was Harvard or MIT, but the math team that was able to go in there and kind of beat the odds in their favor.
I knew one of those guys in college.
Yeah.
You knew what? You knew one of those guys?
Made a bunch of money doing that. Was banned from the casino. Yeah, he was at MIT. I didn't know him well, but
bad knees. I heard. Yeah, you'd roll him in.
On a slightly different topic, did you guys hear recently that I guess we've done several stories now that people have used ChatGPT to pick lottery numbers and they've won?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, there was a woman who won a large ticket
last
the other
week.
day.
Yeah, Virginia or something.
Yeah.
150,000 at least, I think.
Yeah, I chuckled a little bit at that one, but
ChatGPT picked it.
Did pick it.
Good to know.
Okay, just a little slightly.
We're not giving any lottery advice out there for any folks. If you do have problems with current gambling issues, call 1-800 not Fox 10.
One other movie, Roofman.
Roofman. What's that?
Talk about Roofman. It's the wild story of a guy who robbed a string of fast food places. He was a veteran. He was a family family man, but he's on hard times, robs a bunch of fast food places, escapes from prison, and then hides out in a Toys R Us for literally 6 months.
Yes, I remember reading about this one. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, based on a true thing?
Yeah, true thing. He lives there for 6 months. Subsists on M&Ms. Has his
I pretty much
inflatable
just subsist
kitty
on
chair
it. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's a great cast. You got let's see, we got Channing Tatum, Kirsten Dunst as his church-going love interest, Keith Stanfield as his buddy, and Peter Dinklage does a great job as the store manager who's wondering where all his M&Ms are going. And it was really well done. I did not expect to like this one as much as I did, but it's streaming at home, so you can watch it at home. And I really enjoyed this one.
That's kind of my secret dream a little bit that I don't think I'll ever accomplish. I always thought about
To
this.
rob a Burger King and to live in a Toys R Us?
To write the story, like to cover a story that is so interesting, you think that would be a great book / movie. And because it's all right there for you.
Right.
All you have to do is kind of put it together and figure out how to write a script. How hard can that be? And then, and then you're a big shot in Hollywood next thing you know. But it had to be an interesting story like that. I'm 30 years, I'm still waiting.
It's amazing.
Anyway.
Better than fiction. We got about a minute and a half left, but tell us about third movie.
Oh, third one, Nouvelle Vague. This is Richard Linklater's new movie. It's streaming on Netflix.
I love Richard Linklater's work.
And always a different movie he seems to come up with. In this case, it's about the French New Wave, Jean-Luc Godard, how he challenged the conventions of cinema, got to start as a writer, as a film writer, and then we watch him in this movie create his first film, Breathless. We have a little trailer of that. It's basically it's shot in 35 millimeter black and white film. The aspect ratio is like the 1932 aspect ratio. It's like, you can see little grains and, bits and some dust on the film a little bit. Like it's very authentic. It really tries to capture the spirit of the new wave, if not the rule-breaking methods that Godard embraced,
I love it when directors take the extra step, to do all that with the technical expertise. Like Lighthouse that came out a few years ago. Amazing how they were able to film that and use it. I mean, it was a insane film, but just the technical aspect of it. So,
and didn't Tarantino bring back the very super widescreen thing?
Yes.
VistaVision. Yeah.
Yes.
And a couple of movies were shot in VistaVision this year that we talked about. One Battle After Another, Begonia. So it's interesting that some filmmakers are going back to actual cinema.
Well, I think we're about out of time.
All right.
Good stuff.
Hans
Good tips,
Peterson,
Hans.
love it,
Good
man.
movies.
Yeah.
Burning it at both ends.
Okay, watch the news tonight at 5, 9,
See you
and 10.
guys.
We'll see you.